Welcome back to Just Chattin', and this is the series of videos we do on Thursday and Sunday evenings just for our own entertainment. So for all you Audie fans, the bad cat is in the front window. We've had light snow flurries today, so at least he's got something to watch. Previously, he was in the front window watching the snow melt. I don't even know what to say about that. But yes, he's watching a few light flurries. He seems to be enjoying it. He's a cat. He's easily amused. He may show up. He may not. We'll see. Yellow. I have a new bit of yellow here. So now I have a yellow necklace, meaning I can throw this on with anything. Yay. Also, Colleen sent me a yellow pin. Again, it's citrine. That's where my yellow is coming from. So I will probably trot out that yellow pin before long. Once again, it means I don't have to completely redress myself. The yellow is for Catherine. It's for Lex's mom. It's for everybody whose life has been impacted by cancer. We are wishing you all the very best. And please know, we are aware of the fact that cancer not only hits one individual, but all of the individuals around that individual. So yes, our thoughts and good wishes are going out to all of you. Now, we have a lot of weird and diverse topics to cover today, and we're going to get right into it just as soon as we come back from the intro in 22 seconds. So let's start with Justine Baitman. Yay, Justine. Now, Justine Baitman, for most of us who were alive in the 1980s, played Mallory Keaton, a ditzy, superficial character on a show called Family Ties. This is not who Justine Baitman is. It's just a part that she played because Mallory, frankly, was an airhead. Justine has a degree in computer science. And yeah, we're talking hard sciences here. And I should say, hard sciences does not necessarily mean difficult sciences. But in this case, I would say, yes, there is overlap, because that is not a degree you just get by showing up in a college classroom and looking pretty. So we're dealing with somebody who has a significant amount of brain power to put behind her comments. So very quickly, let's take a look at what the comments were. Meghan Markle and Harry are no better than ambulance chasers. What a repulsive photo op they achieved. They are touring the damage. Are they politicians now? They don't live here. They are tourists. Disaster tourists. Now, I've got to tell you, I think, well, first of all, before I even get into this, that was beautifully punctuated. Justine Baitman is a woman who uses semicolons, which means she is just the new love of my life. Yes, beautifully written, perfectly punctuated. Thank you very much, Justine, for standing up for the proper use of the English language. Also, the sentiment behind this comment is obvious. Why are Nutmeg and the Sock Puppet touring a disaster site? They are not British royals. This is not who they are. This is not their job. They are not there to provide support and solace. They are private individuals who are using those titles in order to access spaces that are not even available to the victims of the fires. These are people who cannot go to the site of what used to be their home, their school, their business, whatever. Yet Nutmeg and the Sock Puppet are using their titles and their special privilege or their wealth or who knows what it is, but using advantages they have that the victims do not have in order to exploit this beautiful backdrop of smoldering Los Angeles for their photo ops. Good Lord, I'm glad they are being called out by this. Now, I have a number of articles in the video notes, and let me just grab another one very quickly so I can give you Moren Callahan. There is an article by Moren Callahan cited in the video notes. If you only read one of them, read that one, because it is deliciously savage. It's an article in the Daily Mail. So, yeah, it's just, but like I say, deliciously savage. If you want to read something, that's the one to read. But as has been already amply proven by many YouTubers, not to mention other people in the mainstream media, Nutmeg wandering around the site of the fire, hugging people and pretending that she's volunteering, has already been torpedoed. She was apparently not even hugging real victims, but hugging a member of her own entourage that she brought with her. Good heavens. There's been tremendous backlash. Justine Baitman is only one. There are many, many others. I strongly recommend that you just take a look. Meghan Kelly has been outspoken, but Justine Baitman, that's the really delightful one, because when Mallory Keaton, the icon of 1980s airhead superficiality, style over substance, is calling you out on your actions, you got to know you're doing something wrong. Next up, Nutmeg has apparently decided that she's the one who was responsible for getting her delightful new cooking show postponed. Yeah, right. For many days prior to this, and when I say many days, almost from the start of the Los Angeles fires, there was a public outcry that the media was in fact printing, asking that Netflix not have the poor taste to show a cooking show, if that's what it is, featuring the ultra-rich and the famous wandering around in their gorgeous gardens, picking little flowers and fruits and vegetables, while people are literally living on the streets. People are choking on the smoke. So this is in poor taste. So there was a public outcry asking Netflix to postpone it. There has been talk that perhaps Netflix has decided to postpone it indefinitely, that this is the first postponement of many. But of course, Nutmeg jumped on this at once and said that she was the one who decided to postpone it. Yeah, right. You know, when you do a show for any production company, Netflix, Warner Brothers, Paramount, whatever, as the performer in the show, and Nutmeg certainly knows this because she actually did that for a living once upon a time, the performer on the show does not have control over the distribution of the show. That's nonsense. Netflix has absolute control over the distribution of the show. So, yeah. It's just another instance of Nutmeg taking credit for somebody else's work. And we have seen that pattern, like, literally throughout her life. It started when she was a child and took credit for that letter to the dish soap company that she wrote on behalf of her entire class. And by the way, she almost certainly was appointed class letter writer because she did have very good, clear handwriting before she started putting all those swirls on it. She actually had very good handwriting, especially for a small child, and that was undoubtedly what got her the job of letter writer. But it was a class project, and anyone who doubts that, hey, the Nickelodeon broadcast is still available on YouTube. Just go into the YouTube search box and say Meghan Markle Procter & Gamble, and it'll come right, oh, and add Nickelodeon. It'll come right up, the whole story. This was not her personal letter. It was a letter she wrote on behalf of the entire class as a class project. But like I say, that's when she started taking credit for other people's work, and she's been doing it ever since. My goodness, she is nothing if not consistent. So, after the backlash, we're going to get into something different this time. After the backlash, Nutmeg apparently decided she was going to go out and try to do some actual volunteering. So she showed up at a girls' center, again, article in the video notes, with a couple of bags of clothing and cosmetics, beauty items. Because, yeah, that's exactly what you need when your house has just burned down to the ground. Hi, gee, you lost your whole life. Here's a mascara with love from Meghan. Seriously? This is just, I mean, it's surreal how anybody could assume that this is legitimate charity. Is beyond me. Now, I understand that one might think, well, they've lost everything. They probably appreciate things. You know what would do more good? Instead of going out and grabbing a couple of bags of clothing that I'm certain Nutmeg did not buy herself. I'm sure staff people bought it. I'm also equally sure it came from Archewell money and not Nutmeg's own pocket, because none of their charity comes from their own pocket. It all comes from funds donated by other people to Archewell. The easy thing to do is write a check to the organizations with boots on the ground who already have those support systems in place. Do they do that? No. Why? Because what kind of photo op do you get out of somebody writing a check? We can watch Nutmeg write her name and put little curly cues on it and pretend it's calligraphy, but it's not quite the same as watching Nutmeg show up in her Los Angeles baseball cap. Look at me, I'm an Angelino too, and hand out bags of clothing. Oh, I'm sorry, she bought lunch for them as well. We're talking about people who have gotten millions of dollars from Netflix, from the Sock Puppets book deal. You know, Spare obviously made a lot of money. It sold a lot of copies. We are not talking about people without resources. The amount of money involved in a few bags of clothing, and I think it was a total of 4 bags. Couldn't have been much because Nutmeg personally carried it all with her. A few bags of clothing, a few bits of cosmetics, and lunch for an afternoon for a girls' center. Good heavens, is that really the best they can do? Well, Nutmeg certainly thinks so. And again, it's more photo ops than she would get out of actually writing a check. There was another interesting article I came across while I was looking at this, and this is from the Irish Times. And I've occasionally read their articles, but I don't think I've ever included them as a source in any of my videos. And they had a couple of these articles. One of them talks about the backlash, and the other says that Nutmeg and the Sock Puppet would do well to take a page from Catherine and William's playbook, because they recently went out themselves after an unfortunate incident in the UK. I'm not going to go into details. YouTube will probably pull my video if I do. So just, it's in the video notes. Take a look at it if you want to, but it is a taboo subject on YouTube. So Catherine and William went out. No press corps, no fanfare, nothing until after the fact, when the organizations they visited surfaced their own photos. Now, I will say, I should say this, Nutmeg clearly did take a little bit out of that, because the photos of her going off to this girls' center did in fact show up as a result of this girls' center sending in photos to Instagram. But the thing is, we all know Catherine and William are sincere in their low-key appearances, whereas we know that Nutmeg is all about the photo ops. It would be a lot more believable that the girls' club just did this on their own if Nutmeg hadn't gone out the day before with a full camera crew in tow. So, yeah, I don't even know what to say about it. It's very, very strange, very, very sad. Let's see. Two other stories we have here. One is that no sooner does Nutmeg go back on Instagram, but she and the sock puppet are attacking Meta, which is a social media giant, because they are no longer fact-checking on their platforms. Now, I'm assuming this is Facebook that they are referring to, because that is the biggest of the Meta companies. But they are saying that failure to fact-check leaves the platform open for abuse. Well, yeah, it probably does. It also allows freedom of speech on the platform. So what can I say? It is once again the two of them saying, we want to use social media and tell whatever lies and mistruths we feel is in our best interest, but we don't want anybody else to say anything harmful to us, our image, our brand, anything that challenges our narrative of the two of us being, I don't know, angels incarnate. Aren't we so lucky they're among us? The fact is, that goes back, interestingly enough, to Justine Baitman, who has been, in addition to outspoken on the topic of Nutmeg and the sock puppet and their disaster tourism, which, by the way, I think is very, very much on point. She's also been a very outspoken proponent of net neutrality. So, yes, while they are trying to shut the media down, Justine and people like her are trying very hard to keep it open, as it is the ultimate town meeting. Everyone has a voice. Everyone can throw their opinion out there. It is the internet. And net neutrality is the basic substance of net neutrality is it eliminates internet service providers' ability, right, actually, because of course they still have the ability, but it would interrupt their right to create different price structures for internet service users, to block certain kinds of content. It's a very good thing. It does allow all of us to retain access to the internet. And like anything else, you are going to get the good with the bad. You are going to get abuses of the right to freely express your opinions, and you are going to get an opportunity to look at everybody's opinions. None of us should be approaching the internet with naive blinders on. We all need to understand that there is a huge amount of information out there, and it's up to us, either on behalf of ourselves or our minor children, to screen the information, to carefully assess it, decide for ourselves what is true and what is not true. And Nutmeg and the Sock Puppet, of course, do not want us to have that opportunity, mostly because they do not want the backlash they are always inviting. It's like the backlash is coming from them. If they would stop behaving like animals, crawling through the wreckage of people's lives as they have in Los Angeles, if they didn't behave like that, there would be no backlash. No need for backlash. Decent people don't get backlash like this. It just doesn't happen. So, yeah, I would say definitely slight tangent, but absolutely linking up to the topic at hand. This next one, this one is strange, but it's out there. This is currently being discussed. Apparently, Nutmeg has yet again redesigned her engagement ring. You know, I know, it's like we're going from Los Angeles fires to Nutmeg and her jewelry. But my link up here is, remember, mascara for the homeless girls. Oh, yes. So, yeah, the superficiality of this is definitely right on track here. Everyone is saying that, I believe this is the 4th iteration of her engagement ring, that she has redesigned it yet again. I'm going to show you the pictures from the article. You decide for yourselves. First of all, the only change I could actually detect was when she had the plain gold band redesigned to a gold pavé band. Interestingly enough, that was a very close match to the band she had on her engagement ring from Trevor. And, oh, I am going to see if I can find a picture of that so you can see for yourself. But yes, that was bizarre and creepy. But it looks like there are even more changes, that she has apparently replaced the main stone. Who knows why? Perhaps she has left the 2 Diana stones, because those were the 2 stones flanking the main stone. They were from Diana's jewelry, and just kept it around as some sort of good luck charm. Who knows? I do not even understand why a woman who has not yet been married for, 7 years? I don't think it's been 7 years yet, feels the need to change her engagement ring. And as I say, they're saying, and by they, I mean the people on the internet, the netizens, who have much sharper eyes than I do, are saying this is the 4th change. Why? And I will tell you my personal opinion, and that's all this is, my personal opinion. If you feel the need to change your engagement ring repeatedly over time, that is probably some indication of your general lack of satisfaction with your marriage, your married life. Lord knows, husband's taste, because the sock puppet claimed in the engagement interview that he personally designed that ring. And yeah, at the time I seem to recall she was saying it was so special because he designed it himself. Yeah, I guess not so much anymore. So anyway, that is strange, not particularly weighty as an issue, but it's out there, so why not take a look at it? All right, that is what I have for you. I would have to say that I think the takeaways out of all of this are, 1, we did in fact see Nutmeg actually go out, do some volunteering, spend a little money Archie Well money, of course, and a mere fraction of what she could easily afford to give away to charity. And we're talking a mere fraction of what she pays for a single dress when she goes off to an event. So, yeah, not a significant portion of her income by a long shot. So that's number one. Did she really prompt Netflix to postpone that cooking show? Oh, I very much doubt it. I simply do not think that is how Hollywood works. Sorry, Nutmeg. And I think Nutmeg knows it, but I also think she knows Netflix is not going to come out and call her on the lie. They are just going to smile and put a good face on it. But the backlash did, in fact, get her to go out and do something, so maybe some good came out of it. And I think, finally, even in the midst of outrageous behavior and well-deserved backlash, they are still, well, they're playing the political game. They are still trying to redefine our right to freedom of speech by censoring the internet. Make no mistake about it, they want to censor the internet. And quite frankly, freedom of speech means hearing lies, it means hearing truth, it means hearing things you don't want to hear along with things you do want to hear. And the real test of our ability to tolerate free speech is our willingness to tolerate freedom of speech being granted to people with opinions that do not agree with our own. Because let's face it, it's no struggle to allow free speech to people who think like you do. You have to allow free speech to people who don't. Nutmeg and the Sock Puppet have not figured that out yet. But then again, unlike Justine Baitman, neither one of them has a degree in computer science, and quite frankly, neither one of them can write a Twitter post with such gorgeous grammar and punctuation. So, there you go. That's my take on it. We're going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out. I hope to see you next time. And in the meantime, have a terrific day.